From Variety, celebrating more than 120 years covering the business of entertainment, this is the Award Circuit Podcast. Martin Short was the only one of the three Only Murders in the Building stars to receive an Emmy acting nomination this year, and he's still laughing at how co-star Steve Martin took the news.
The day the Emmys were announced, Steve phoned me about mid-afternoon and went, "Hi, it's Steve. So I've been out all day and I've been hiking and biking and oh my God, I've been so busy. Hey, have you heard anything about the Emmys?"
I'm Michael Schneider, and on this episode of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast, we talk to Only Murders in the Building star Martin Short on the future of the show, which returns September 9 for Season 5, and what convinced him to host Match Game. We also get a surprise cameo during our talk. But first, on the roundtable, we look at the most competitive Emmy categories as Phase 2 voting gets underway this Monday. It's all next on this edition of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. Stay close. Hello, everybody. It's the Round Table, and we are celebrating Clayton's cover story. Talk to the beautiful Tremel Tillman. I can't give you credit though for how Tremel's photos look. That's all him. But the story itself was pretty amazing too.
I am a stylist as well, and I I also picked out some stuff. No, honestly, like it listen, I wish I could take credit for any of those pictures, and I watch it all happen in real time, and I can't help but be a little bit of a hater and be just like, when I was watching them, I was like some people just get everything in life, man. Like they just get everything. Like I was watching like Pose, and I was like, it was just effortless. He changed 4 times. He went outside to the rooftop. It was like it was hot outside, and he had a coat. He didn't look like he was sweating. It was just effortless for him. But that felt it felt good to just watch him work there, and then to sit down with him was honestly top 5 interviews I've done in my entire career. He was the best.
Was that the rooftop of our New York office, or
no, rooftop of another office down by it's like 14th Street ish area? No, it was in the kind of like in the 20s, because we were kind of by Food Network. I could see it like kind of close by.
It's a company called Lumen Industries. You should check it out. You don't know quite what they do. It involves numbers and clicking them into boxes.
Yeah.
So, Milchick himself is pretty strong. And he gave some great answers, too. I mean, it was really introspective. And so I do recommend folks to go off and check that out. And always read Variety. What am I talking about? Not just this week, every week.
But it was
also, and just to add to that, I think a lot of people were asking me, like, how did you get all that out of him and blah blah blah. It's like, was it hard to write? And cover stories are always hard to write, but it's actually really easy when you feel like he's definitely popular. People love him, and they love him as Milchick, but I think I realized how people knew very little about him. So you could really start on a blank canvas and just like ask him questions and then just see where it goes. And he was just, I mean, I all celebrities, all actors, like, take note, be open with your journalists, because you can reveal a lot of interesting things and find connection. And, it's vulnerability. It really does make the best stories.
I love that you you were asking him about like what was the sound of your childhood home like, and then you ask him like whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I thought that was,
and he gave the right answer.
He did. That's why everybody needs to read your interview. But yeah, to your point, like I love how open he was, because I was reading this, and you know how many like I read. I'm sure we all do. Like we read all the interviews they do, we hear the interviews, and it's like you got something so fresh from him. So I text you at like 6 o'clock this morning. Was like, it's amazing.
Thanks. And he also debuted it on CNN, which was also awesome too.
Well, meanwhile, it's been a busy week as we get ready for Televerse. Dun dun dun.
Man.
Televerse.
Oh my gosh.
and the Hall of Fame, and there's a lot going on this weekend. By the way, HBO Max is doing a big event on Sunday that Jazz is moderating a ton of panels at. Apple is also doing a big event, their own reception, and yeah, so we're on the eve of voting, but we already know a couple of winners, actually. So why don't we kick off with that before we get into the rest of the race, because the juried winners came out this week.
And Netflix dominated there. We have, so listen, I think that for some people, let me clear up two quick things that are connected to the jury winners. One, they can be very telling, especially the animation winners, of where animated programs are going to go. So now I feel pretty solid that Arcane is going to win again for an animated program. It's just such a good telling argument. So there's that, number one. Number two, which is most important, because there's a debate on the internet, because Beyonce won juried categories, and there's a debate on whether or not this counts towards her EGOT, and it totally does. This isn't like honorary Oscar, honorary Emmy mode. Juried categories are still voted on by your peers. Sometimes juried categories are jury because there aren't enough submissions in the category, so it goes to a jury of the peers, or they were just constructed that way to be a juried category. It does count. She is an Emmy winner. She's halfway towards EGOT status. Good for you, Beyonce.
Yeah, she gets the trophy. I mean, she gets a trophy that says Beyonce Knowles Carter on there. So and
can we just say that it was for outstanding costumes for variety, nonfiction, reality programming, which I think was so great because the costumes for Beyonce Bowl were really good. And yeah, thank you for settling that argument, because the internet likes to have its little, she's not a winner, it's not recognized.
I love that we refer to the internet like it's some just amorphous beast. It
is. I mean, listen, it's getting passionate. Like, my name got put into it too, and you got to be careful with these Stan accounts. And I will say, just to keep peace between the two sides, because there's a lot of Lady Gaga, Beyonce arguments happening, and whether or not Lady Gaga is an Emmy winner. She is as well. I count sports Emmys towards Emmys. An Emmy is an Emmy. Now we can have there's been debate in the awards punditry community whether it should just be primetime, because Jennifer Hudson, for instance, is the EGOT because of a daytime Emmy. Like, an Emmy's an Emmy. We count it. So they're both Emmy winners in that regard. Not one against the other. They're both Emmy winners. There we go. Now we can proceed.
It's interesting because there could be some arguments, though, that, if an Emmy's an Emmy, then they give out thousands of local Emmys. So if I won like an Emmy in Pittsburgh for something, like, would that count towards an EGOT? It starts to get a little dicey.
I count myself as an Emmy nominee. I don't care if it's daytime or if it was local. Like, I'm an Emmy nominee, and for marketing purposes of yourself, it works. And if I ever win, I will be an Emmy winner, and I won't ever have to specify what it was for.
Daytime.
Yeah, I mean, you can just throw that in there, but it does count.
But yeah, so otherwise, you're right. Arcane won a bunch, and then Love, Death, and Robots. That's another one that seems to always win big with the juried awards. So that always is an early big winner for Netflix.
Yeah. I think Arcane probably just has that kind of sewn up. I mean, it just seems like they'll go back to it. If it's not animated program for whatever reason, I mean, it's not Arcane for whatever reason, then I think they get lazy and just default back to Simpsons, which obviously makes Mike Schneider's happy.
Makes me very happy, and this was a very good season of The Simpsons. So,
would you say this is one of its better seasons, like of the recent era?
Yeah, I think they really did some creatively interesting things this year, and a lot of experimental stuff. And it got people's attention. I feel like we were writing more about things that were going on The Simpsons this year because of that. I'll be curious, by the way, how this run of South Park episodes does next year.
Oh my gosh!
If we can't bank on that now, South Park making it back to the Emmys. I mean, this is tailor-made. First they're under a new management now. Talk about just Paramount Global, a Skydance company, really asserting itself in the first big award scene of Emmys next year, I'd be bullish to say it's going to be there.
Yeah,
and they're only on episode 2, right? So
they just finished the second episode. We're on a bi-weekly basis right now, which is good because the big thing I'm one of the ones that watched South Park its entire run up until now.
Yeah.
It's my Simpsons for my language. But these newer seasons, the last 4 or 5, have been 6-episode seasons, and it sucks. It's over so fast. So I think this really does elongate it a bunch. And since things are so fast moving, and this is the administration that you can get a lot of material out of, I think it's good to wait a week and get some
good juice.
I think it obviously comes out of just the work that it takes to put into these episodes. And they've talked about how, up until, recently, they would produce these episodes in the course of a week. And that's a lot to ask, especially when you're doing something this elaborate, like the kinds of things that they've been doing these first 2 episodes. So it makes sense. And these episodes, they're resonating so much that they need 2 weeks to marinate. We're still talking about the first episode, let alone the second episode. So, let these sort of sit a little bit longer and marinate with the audiences, and then give us something new next week. So I am fine with that.
Can't wait to see who's next on the docket.
Depends what happens, though, between now and next week, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And as we can see, a lot of stuff happens. So before we talk about Emmy voting and we get things underway, one other story to talk about this week is, Clayton, you kind of dove in to get an update on the negotiations between Disney and the Oscars over the telecast, and whether the Oscars will continue as a ABC/Disney Plus/Hulu event, or if there's a possibility of someone else stealing it away.
Yeah. What put me, we were wanting to get into kind of a check-in mode about how are things going, and both sides are actually pretty tight-lipped on it. It seems like it's going well, as reflected in the story. There was suggested rumors that Iger wanted to wait for the successor to be announced, because let them be the ultimate decider on whether or not this happens. The timeline of that, Iger has said his contract expires the end of 2026. They were set to they said they would announce at the beginning of 2026, but that's a little too late for the Oscars. Their contract was up at the 100. But what brought this on, that I really then got into it, was, Hulu is not going away as a brand, but it's merging into Disney Plus next year, which I think was just the best news for the Oscars, because when they did this trial kind of run on Hulu this year, which we were so happy about, we were all asking ourselves, why not do Disney Plus? You have more subscribers. That's right. Where everything is. And now that they'll merge, it's okay, now you can do it. And it really does frame ABC as the go-to destination for awards content, because they have the Grammys now. They held on to the Oscars. We don't know what the Tonys are going to do. We don't know if CBS will hold on to them, but that's something that could be up for grabs. They can really make a brand out of that. And they gave the Grammys what they same deal they had before. I'm quoting it correctly. Then they got $500 million for 10 years, which is great. So the ultimate question is, how much do the Oscars get? And if they do decide not to be with ABC, or ABC decide not to go with them, whatever the case may be, there are other suitors. I think there's a lot of interest. The streamers especially would want them. So there is going to be a home for them. I think it's ultimately about who that will be.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, Disney has been such a good partner with them, and it's allowed them so much. Just the fact that they put the messaging in the parks, and just all the synergy that happens by being with Disney. I have a hard time believing that they would go elsewhere. But
and listen, even though they're being really tight-lipped, I guess again the magic number is whatever that magic number is. The reporting from the last deal was $100 million. And we all feel pretty bullish that it's not going to be that again. So how low will they go, or accept? And maybe they're going back and forth in that. And Bill Kramer, when I did my interview with him last year, he had just announced the Academy 500, the $500 million fundraising campaign. But that was already in anticipation of knowing that they wouldn't get what they got last time, so they can already fill that gap with all their fundraising efforts.
I mean, it's no UFC.
Can we please, Mike, explain this to me like I am a 2-year-old. I didn't know UFC was worth that much money, and by the sound of it, people are saying it's not, and that's why it's so shocking.
Right, it's not, but this is a new company, and clearly David Ellison wants to make a statement, and felt like this was one way to make a huge statement. So we'll see. I can't imagine the ROI is that strong on it, but they're thinking big picture. Like this is how you really accelerate Paramount Plus, and you send a message to Hollywood that we're serious players, we're in it to win it. So
and July 4th and a July 4th weekend brawl on the White House lawn will be their first big telecast, I guess.
in a gold-plated octagon.
Oh my God.
We live in
crazy times.
Interesting, but just terrible. It's just we live in terrible times.
I hate this. So I hate us. I hate everything.
I don't like this timeline at all. Like I keep thinking we're going to jump off it. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, one other thing we should mention is I need to find out. So, Jimmy Kimmel now has Italian citizenship. I need to figure out how to do that. So,
well, you need to take the ancestry test, right? Like you've got to do DNA to see, because if you find it.
Controversial though, and someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if Italy would be my first choice. Didn't they go super like right wing?
This is true. Selection? It doesn't help.
So
it doesn't help
that would be my go.
They get it's the only one that's an option unless I've gone to Banff enough that I can become an honorary Canadian. I need to work on it.
Canada's always been the option. It's like, let's go to Canada.
Should we just move there? We'll be running this podcast from Canada in like who knows when.
Close enough. Yeah. All right. Emmys. Here we go. Voting starts
again.
Monday.
Thank
God.
So, we've been talking about that drama race and how that is the one to watch. Clayton, is that still sort of the big question mark, or are there other races that you're kind of even more excited about and find mysterious?
Of the series categories, drama's the one that could produce, I think, a surprise. And by surprise, I think like it would be Severance or The Pit. I'm more inclined to just kind of stick with Severance at the moment. 27 nominations, no editing nominations, which is editing nominations for The Pit. And the editing branch is among the top 4 biggest branches in the TV Academy. When you don't have an editing nom, it can be a little tough. So I think, but I'm looking at other categories. I'm looking really at supporting actor drama between all our Severance and White Lotus boys. I don't. Ask me a different day, and I think there are 4 possible answers.
Yeah,
and that would be Trammell, obviously Trammell Tillman, Walton Goggins. I think Sam Rockwell is such a sleeper pick that we're sleeping on that I think could really like bubble in there. And then the 4th one, I think in a kind of Tony Shalhoub, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, we just love this guy so much, John Turturro.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can see that. James Marsden is also in the mix. He's a guy who seems to pop up everywhere these days. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, that is definitely it feels like Walton versus Trammell, but
with some outside possibilities. I mean, that's the number 1 category. Then the other 2 that are keeping me up at night is Stephen Graham versus Colin Farrell.
Oh my gosh.
I'm constantly flipping coins. I don't know.
Does Colin go for the run? Know. Does Colin's run continue? Because the Penguin got a ton of I don't know. Like,
Here's the thing with Colin. I explained this on a video the other day. Is that I think we all feel pretty bullish that Adolescence is winning and there's no like other option, right? Like we think Adolescence is just going to do it. And even with Penguin multiple nominations, we're like, yeah, probably not. So if you have, and a lot of people have Adolescence sweeping, which is, Baby Reindeer did that last year. The issue is like, does Penguin get that many nominations and can't like get something big? And that's tough to swallow. And Colin Farrell seems pretty easy to do that. He swept the season so far. However, I am reminded of the WandaVision year that had, I think, the same number of nominations, and we all expected to walk out of there with something, and it didn't. I still think there's genre bias. I still think for some TV Academy members, they will look at that show and go, I have to watch a superhero show, and they kind of like, ugh. And Adolescence is just an quote unquote easier watch because it's 4 episodes, 1 hour. They can blow through that pretty fast. And it seems weird if you're going Adolescence down the line and everything, that you're like, Stephen Graham, nah, I'm good. Like,
right. The star, the main person.
It's hard because I think too the genre thing, like people assume that Penguin is very genre-esque, but when you watch it, it's totally not in that sense, right? Also, like the conversations have been really like out when we've done conversations with the Penguin. Every single one of those has been packed, and people are actually watching the show. I love Adolescence. I think it's great. I think all of them are phenomenal. The one thing I've heard though is they can't get through it, especially if they're parents of teens. They struggle. I don't know, but
it's tough material.
It's like, so then how does that translate to final voting? But I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
It's a good point, and it's a good point that because I think in many ways I'm thinking of Adolescence like, okay, are we talking about it's 5 wins on the night or 6 wins, right? Like we're literally like parsing a win here. So that brings me to Lead Actress Limited, the Michelle Williams versus Kristen Milioti. That's the only way. I mean, on paper right now, as it looks, I think that Stein for Sex's only chance to win anything is Michelle Williams. And then if Colin and Steven are really close, and I think Kristen Milioti's in the race, maybe that becomes a representation. But that also seems really weird that the Penguin show is represented by not the Penguin, and also I think she's borderline supporting. Like there are people like, Michelle Williams is her show. Kristen Milioti has to share that with the titular character.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about. All right, well, let's switch gears now real quick and talk about this week's guest. We have the one and only Martin Short joining us for the podcast. You'll hear early in this episode, one of my favorite parts is I was talking to Martin as he was vacationing in his home in Canada, which, yes, by the way, I did ask if I could somehow move in and again, become a citizen. He said, I'm not the only person who's asked him that. But,
so he said no, pretty much.
He said no, pretty much.
It's like,
there's a long line of people in front of me. But as we were talking, suddenly one of his house guests pops their head in, and it's the one and only Tina Fey, who walked in on me and Martin having our conversation. So clearly I was not invited to the Martin Short Tina Fey vacation home, but I'm sure it's a lovely time.
That is the physical manifestation of FOMO. Like, imagine just like, because I don't think it was just Marty and Tina. I'm sure there was like so many famous people hanging out, and you're just like I want to go. Like I feel like I should go. Like I don't need to go as a reporter. I just want to like hang out. I just want to be around you all.
Just want to laugh with all these folks.
I want to find joy.
Barbecue. Yes. Yeah.
Did you? By the way, did you ask him about, he's a SAG winner. There is this trailer for Only Murders that came up, and it's not billed as its final season. I'm wondering if we're getting to the end. Was there any talk about this being the final season or not?
There is a little bit of that, but of course he's not going to give up the ghost. He basically says, they don't want to overstay their welcome, but he still thinks that the show is firing on all cylinders. So no real sort of hint from him. We'll probably more likely get that from either Steve or from John. So I think 6 is the magic number. I think not this season. I think next season, maybe that's when you're like, hey, these guys have a lot of murders happening around them, so maybe they're suspects and we should disband. That's the other joke I made, was like, this is the Murder, She Wrote situation. After a while, it's like, wow, Jessica Fletcher, there's something up with you for being around all these murders. And how many murders can there be in one building? What does that do to property values when you have so many murders in a single building?
That building, has to just be listed for $50,000 per apartment. There's no way that the Arcadia is making any profit. The values in the toilet. It's like 2008 all over again for
except we know real estate in both LA and New York, and we would still pay to live in that apartment, even if it had multiple murders. And you just keep your lights on at night. So comedy actor, I mean, Martin's, he's definitely a contender. It does feel like Seth Rogen's to lose this year, since
I think Marty is, and I think Marty's number 2. I really do. I don't think Jeremy's really in it. Like he was. I mean, he's won 2 years in a row, so like obviously we can be like, yeah, probably he is. But I really think Marty. I think people are very conscious that Marty has never won an acting Emmy, and the fact that he's gotten it twice without Steve, and for a lot of people, and I'm one of these people, he kind of is the heart of the show.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. There's the most emotion with his character, and I talk about this with him, the relationship with his character's son, as well as, of course, the love relationship. And no, we did not discuss what's going on with Meryl Streep in his real life. We can continue to just, have our own fan fiction on what's going on between those.
Listen, we don't need to talk about mom and dad. That's fine, but they're doing their thing though.
So on that note, let's get right to it. And I guess next time we talk, voting will be way underway. So look alive, everyone. Start your voting. Vote early. Vote often. And,
oh my gosh. Just vote once, please.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
After the break, Only Murders in the Building star Martin Short. From Los Angeles, this is the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. And we're back. It's the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. I'm Michael Schneider. Only Murders in the Building has been quite the triumph for Martin Short, who earlier this year won his first ever SAG Award for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Comedy Series. That same night, he and his co-stars also won the SAG Award for Comedy Series Ensemble. As Oliver Putnam, Short is in many ways the emotional core of Only Murders. Over 4 seasons, and soon 5, audiences have seen his character struggle to maintain a bond with his son, lament over what his career could have been, and then come close to a second chance, and then even fall in love with Loretta, played by Meryl Streep. Early in Season 4, we also see Short's, Steve Martin's, and Selena Gomez's characters cast in a movie with Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, and Zach Galifianakis.
Charles, Oliver, and Mabel, this is, Charles, Oliver, and Mabel.
I'm Eugene Levy.
I'm Eva Longoria.
Yeah.
I want to say Tim. I'm Jack Black. Oh, that's it, yeah. I'm not Jack Black.
Oliver, this is Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, yes, Zach Galifianakis, of course. Ha! I see what you're doing. People do this. You're trying to between two ferns me. Between the what? Okay, look, I might not be a desperate housewife or Mr. Shits over here, but I happen to have started the second highest grossing comedy of all freaking time. Are you the little boy from Home Alone? What did they do to you? I'm out. I'm done.
Season 4 ended with the wedding of Oliver and Loretta. But this being Only Murders in the Building, there is, of course, a murder in the building at the very end. Arconia doorman Lester, played by Teddy Kaluka. That brings us to Season 5, which returns September 9. So how much murders can take place in the building? And, in other words, how long might the show continue? On this week's episode of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast, we talked to Short about Only Murders in the Building, about his new gig hosting the latest iteration of the game show Match Game, and we even get a cameo from one of Short's house guests, Tina Fey. I began by noting Short's lovely Canada setting for this interview, and if there was any way he could maybe get me into the country.
You would not be the first person to ask me this.
Yes.
No, not at any level.
No, it's a rough time. Well, Martin, thanks for getting on Zoom. I appreciate it. So I've been enjoying the Match Game so far.
Oh, good.
I mean, obviously, and you've hosted talk shows before. You've done this kind of thing, but game show host.
I'd never done that.
What's that like?
I don't know. It's kind of you don't know what you're doing, but it's always intriguing to try something new and know that you could potentially massively fail. Kind of exciting about that at this stage. Maybe not when I was 25.
Right, but at this point, you sort of are you still like challenging yourself? Was that the idea? Like, you know what, I haven't hosted a game show.
Absolutely, no. I you try to do your best. You don't know what you're doing in that situation. You don't know how mean to be, how gentle to be, how sarcastic. What can you get away with? What can be said? Things like that.
Well, I think there's also that level of people want to be roasted by Martin Short, so you also have kind of that leeway, perhaps?
Yeah, but those guys roast back, too. Everyone, kind of gave it back. And that's why I think as long as those are the rules, it's fine.
Yeah. I also like that, Match Game's always been a little randy, but these days you could probably ratchet it up a little bit more, too. You could get dirty there sometimes.
Yeah, you can. And what a proud moment that is.
Was there ever talk of you doing it in character, like as Jiminy Glick? Was there ever a conversation?
Absolutely. That was just something floated. What if you did it as Jiminy Glick?
And what were your thoughts on that?
And no, well, the reality is Mike Myers did a game show a few years ago in character. So that would be like, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's 3 hours of makeup. It seems like a good idea on paper.
Right. So you're at the point where maybe you'll do it for a one-off, but you're not like ready to inhabit Jiminy Glick again for a long period of time.
Last time I did Glick was on, I guest hosted Jimmy Kimmel's show for a week, and I did it there.
Yeah.
And I did it with Bill Maher.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. So do you still every once in a while hanker to put on the costume, put on the makeup, do a Jiminy Glick or an Ed Grimley?
I don't think Ed Grimley would work so, but Glick is just kind of, because people do exist like Glick, and they're in positions of power for 40 years,
Yeah. And I'm sure
I'm doing an interview, if you can believe it. I think it's going well. Just quickly say hello. This won't be on, but
is this the Gold Derby?
No, it's Variety. Tina Fey, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, it's Mike Schneider from Variety.
Nice to see you.
Good. This is a crossover I wasn't expecting.
Crossover that this is what the internet needs.
This is what the internet needs more of. Crossover.
Is this the real life Four Seasons happening right here?
Absolutely. By the way, I'd like a little writing credit this season, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun show, season. I'm glad there's going to be... We're turning this down to Four Seasons podcast. So I thought season 1 was fantastic. I'm looking forward to season 2. So...
Oh, no, it's fantastic.
Well, that was a lovely drop in. So back to you said that you wouldn't do Ed Grimley anymore. That's not a kind of a character to revisit, or
I don't know. I think that someone like Ed Grimley was interesting because he was a grown man who still had the openness of a child. But at a certain point, it looks like he's a grown man with an illness. And so you don't present it that way. But Glick can constantly be in the current if he were someone who had, like a male Barbara Walters or someone who just lasted decades.
I know so many people who do their own Jiminy Glick impersonations. You probably get that a lot too. The why? I can't do it, but I have a lot of friends who can. Exactly. Sort of like you start with the high pitch and then it goes even higher and then low and then back high again. It's and yeah, I do know many Jiminy Glicks. But no, I was curious about like the other characters through the years because, when we're thinking Emmys, when we're talking about Emmys, of course, the famous 1983 year where SCTV was nominated in all 5 nominations in that variety writing category where you couldn't lose. That was probably like the most fascinating year where you knew you were going to win.
It was amazing. But, Eugene Levy, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm quoting him, says that after that, they changed the rule that you couldn't nominate in the 5 writing categories the same show.
Yeah, now it has to be, I think, by as a series, like as a body of work, as opposed to
I don't know,
something like that. But nonetheless, it was no matter what. It's funny because
that was exciting. That was exciting to go, and I think it was presented by, I want to say, Dick Cavett and Carl Reiner, and maybe even Sid Caesar. It was like one of those things, and they came out and did a little thing, and then we all went up. It was unbelievably exciting.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where you still had old Hollywood, golden age of Hollywood was sort of still around and still doing these events with the new generation sort of intersecting with them. And that was kind of fun to see.
Right.
All these comedy legends sort of like in the same era, living at the same time.
Right, absolutely.
But I still like you guys won that year for the Sweeps Week episode, but strangely enough, I still think about the Towering Inferno episode.
That's Conan's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was even as a kid a nerd at the idea of TV networks, and I was fascinated by the idea of SCTV moving to the tallest, thinnest building in the world. And that whole special, and then of course the fire that erupts because of what it's like the hand dryer. Right?
In fact, just a few nights ago, this is I have this cottage here, and there's lots of guest quarters, and I had people here, and we watched Towering Inferno 2 nights ago.
The actual classic movie, and then
Walden, fantastic.
That's amazing.
Steve McQueen, Paul Newman.
And then you brought out the SCTV episode as a chaser.
No, that would be a little bit like Sunset Boulevard, I think.
So who else is vacationing at the estate? Besides?
Well, I didn't reveal names, but it's old chums always and family.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like you're doing like a variety special right there, just
exactly.
without cameras.
We're always filming. We're certainly always performing.
Are you always all cracking each other up? Is it always like you have to one up Tina Fey?
No, it is all but it's certainly funny. It's funny, funny people. When they're forced to be together, it tends to be lots of laughing.
That sounds amazing. And that's why it's always so fascinating also to see you when you do your dramatic roles every once in a while. And of course, Morning Show, Damages, Emmy nominated for all of those as well through the years. Are you hankering to do more drama? Is that still something that's...
I've always thought I was just, basically an actor. But I think that... I think when you kind of make people laugh, first of all, it's not... It's a complicated thing sometimes to make look easy. And I feel great satisfaction by doing that. So I don't have obviously you don't, if someone writes you a great role that's dramatic, you don't say, no, I only do comedy. I kind of do, something that seems exciting and intriguing and risky or
Yeah. Like hosting the match game.
There you go.
Or, of course, heading into, I can't believe we're already heading to season 5 of Only Murders.
Season 5, September 9.
Yeah. So we're coming up on it. But you've been nominated all 4 seasons, which it was nice last year that all 3 of you got nominated. You are the nominee this year. Do you get to lord that over your co-stars, particularly
Absolutely.
Steve?
Steve, the day the Emmys were announced, Steve phoned me about mid-afternoon and went, "Hi, it's Steve. So I've been out all day and I've been hiking and biking and oh my God, I've been so busy. Hey, have you heard anything about the Emmys?"
That's and of course you guys won as a group at the SAG Awards last year, but then you also won solo. So it's this has been sort of a nice nice honorary situation for you with this show. It's you've definitely been recognized.
It's a great show. It's well written. It's well directed. It's well crafted, and it's a hit. So those things are very rare. And suddenly, there are things that everyone does through the years that they think, well, I should have gotten an award for that one. But if it wasn't successful, obviously you're not going to. So this is a great combination of satisfactions, this show.
Yeah.
To be not only, it's obviously great to be, nominated for things, but to be so personally pleased with the outcome of the show is amazing.
And I think, that's part of that is, I was talking about dramatic roles and this is a comedy, but nonetheless, there's something about Oliver Putnam and how you portray that character where there's so many layers to this guy, that, he's hysterical, but then there's also, there's a sadness, there's some disappointment that he's experienced obviously in his life. But, there's also this thrill that he has now with, having this new sort of group and this purpose, and now of course new love as well. There's so many different levels to Oliver. It feels like it's got to be a blast to play.
It is, listen, but it's obviously it starts on the page, and but I think even with anything with comedy, if you try to be funny, you won't be funny. So you have to find the sincerity in this odd fella that you're playing.
Yeah.
But if it looks like you're really pushing it, people go, oh, they smell that.
Yeah. No, it's and there's something, again, like I'm sure you've played so many great characters through the years, but is there something that like stands out for you in playing Oliver Putnam, especially now for several years?
It's very odd. I don't dwell on any of this. I kind of, I come from improvisation. I'm kind of in the moment. Glick is all improvised. And so as an executive producer, I have to look at rough cuts and then I look at them and I give my thoughts. And, everyone's very respectful. And then I never really look at it again. Yeah. So not like, I kind of go in the moment of what the scene feels. Sometimes you'll say, I'm sorry, I don't believe Oliver would say that at all. It seems, and then of course they adjust it because everyone's learned together what the character is.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking especially about Oliver's relationship with his son and how,
that's interesting. That was in the first episode, this scene where I go to my son's home and try to ask him for money. And it was the first scene I shot at the show. So it's completely sincere and had nothing to do with comedy. So you just kind of, I don't know, feel it in the moment of the correct way to do a scene.
Yeah. Well, Oliver ends season 4 in a good place, in, a very loving, happy place. And then, of course, there's another murder, It's poor Lester the doorman.
I know. We love Lester.
Yeah, but there has to be a murder in the building.
Has to be a murder in the building.
But we are getting to Jessica Fletcher territory, right? Where you start to wonder, why so much murder? Like how?
Well, this is why, you never know where another season might take you, or this season will take you.
Yeah. Ooh, that sounds like a little hint. Things may go in interesting direction this year.
I reveal nothing. I am, a monk.
Yes, but nonetheless, another fun season. What? Anything?
I'm telling you nothing.
Share?
Michael, you're getting nothing from me.
Only secrets in the building.
Only secrets in the building. No, only big mouth in the building. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
As my sister Nora says of me, telephone, telegraph, telemarty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you normally with secrets?
As we know about secrets, you tell one, you tell 20. So you really have to. I'm pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But you have to tell me that it's a secret. You can't just infer it. And then, of course, a good story is a good story.
Right.
No.
And then
what the ground rules are. If it's within the cone, as I always say, then it's fine.
Steve and John just called and they said that you can reveal everything. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, then. Is it just us? Yeah.
It's just us two girls talking here in the room. It's no, nonetheless, it's one of those things where obviously there needs to be a murder to keep things going. But how much longer do you think at this point things could go? I mean, obviously we hope that this show continues for years and years to come. But
well, I think that the reality is, I think when it feels like it's past its time. I think, no one is, everyone's amazed that it's gone this long. So, this is a long time in streaming to go 5 years.
Most shows don't anymore. So,
but when it's like interesting. A Dick Van Dyke Show went 5 years because one of the reasons was they were afraid of losing the quality of it. But then, Friends went how long, and they were always brilliant. So it really, to me, what motivates it is if you have a sense, your original writers are now have big development deals, and you look at the scripts and go, it's really pushing it now.
Well, it and there doesn't seem to be a reason to stop either. I mean, there's still so much story that you could tell. Every season there is a new mystery. There's and again,
and we've been very lucky to have brilliant guest stars in our show.
Yeah, and that's been part of it too. And the chemistry between the three of you is still, I mean, that's a lot of the fun. And it seems like the three of you still are having a good time.
We are definitely having a good time. What I'm proudest of that show, among many things I'm proud of, is the reputation it has as a workplace in New York, because it is a very loose set. And one of the reasons is because Steve and Selena and I all work the exact same way, screwing around, getting the crew to laugh, everyone laughing, and actions, screw up, laughing. That kind of, joie de vivre is what permeates the set. And I think that translates a little bit to the camera as well.
And, you're sort of learning a lot from Selena, I'm sure, like, in some ways, like there's that whole generation that, you're now part of.
Absolutely. But she's just so fun and loose and cool.
Yeah. No, especially now. What would you say you've learned the most from Selena?
What have I learned the most from Selena? I don't know what I've learned from Selena. I've learned that I adore her.
I wasn't sure if there was any new music that she turned you on to, or some hip thing that her and her significant other, who is very much in the music scene as well, has maybe gotten you hip to.
No, if they played me something, I'd go, "Oh, that's great." Then I'd go back and listen to Sinatra.
All right. Anything else on the docket for you coming up that you're excited about that we should be keeping an eye out for?
I don't know. We're doing. Steve and I have a lot of live shows all over the country. well into the new year, next year. And then, that's that.
Yeah, I had a chance to see you to do your show at the Hollywood Bowl, and it's
really
it's such,
that was an abridged version, but still.
Yeah, but still such a treat. And you guys, you have that down pat. I mean, it's just a joy to see the two of you just completely just needle each other. It's
good.
All right, so season 5 is coming up, and definitely not the end, definitely not the final season.
You know what? I hope not. I can say that.
Yeah. All right. We're just going to put it out there. It's definitely not the final season.
All right. Very good.
And maybe Tina Fey shows up.
That was a cool cameo.
Once again. Well, Martin, great talk to you.
Great seeing you, Michael.
Have a great rest of your summer in that beautiful country of yours.
Thank you. And it's a nice country.
That's Martin Short, Emmy nominated for Comedy Actor of the Hulu series Only Murders in the Building. And that's it for this edition of Variety's Award Circuit Podcast. Michael Schneider is the producer and Aaron Greenewald is the editor. Be sure to subscribe to the Award Circuit Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Also, head on over to Variety.com and click on the Award Circuit tab to find the latest awards predictions and key races, as well as your daily fix of news, analysis, and reviews. For Jazz Tanke, Emily Longaretta, and Clayton Davis, I'm Michael Schneider, and we'll see you on the circuit.